Welcome back to Infinity Drones. Today we're going to take a look at the Caddx Walnut camera as well as the Gyroflow application as a little 2-for-1 special. The Caddx Walnut camera is the camera that I got to replace my GoPro cameras because I basically switched over to the DJI O3 camera exclusively, and I needed a small little action camera to do the normal grunt work on some quads where you couldn't just put an O3 camera on there. But without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so as you guys can see, I've got Gyroflow open right now, and I've already gone and taken some sample footage of the Caddx Walnut on my 7-inch while we're cruising in the mountains. So I'm just going to drag it in, and you guys are going to see that obviously it doesn't have any lens profile. Everything is left as default, and I'm not even going to touch anything on this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Walnut, and I'm going to select the default the official profile. Okay, so let's just quickly wait for that to load up, and then we're going to take a look at the footage as stock standard. Now, in most cases, when you've got a camera and you've got a lens profile, that's all you do. You physically open Gyroflow, you select the lens profile, and that's how you do it. That's what I do with my GoPros, that's what I do with all the other cameras, Insta360s. I've never had an issue with it, even with the DJI O3 unit, as well as the Avata, all of that. I've never had an issue with using Gyroflow just as is. However, on the Caddx Walnut camera, it's a really good camera, but for the money, you're obviously going to have some sacrifices. So if I play this video, apologies, let me just turn off the sound. If I play this video, look at that. You're not going to be very happy with this quality. The lens profile's been loaded. It's not looking good at all. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole video and show you guys all of it. Let me just quickly pause this. Let's just take it back to the beginning, and I want to show you some magic that you can do with the Gyroflow application. Now, remember, the Gyroflow application takes the gyro data and it matches it with the sample footage. Now, we can go to any of the sync points that automatically detect it, and if you want to, you can add 10 or more, whatever. But in my case, I actually just like to watch the video and add manual sync points. Now, we know when I start playing this video, immediately you can see a bunch of shakes going on. So I'm just going to zoom in straight to this little section right now, and I'm going to essentially just select a section. Okay, so let me just quickly pick this section over here, and I am going to select it. I'm going to add sync point over here. Now, the big thing here is that when you add a sync point, you can add places where there's general stutter in your videos or something that doesn't match what you like. Now, if I zoom in here and you take a look at the gyro data, now let me just quickly focus on the yaw one. So I'm just going to remove all the other ones, and you're going to see, you can always see the green, the red, and the blue. But in this case, the yaw axis is the red line, and you can see that when the red line goes down, the actual gyro data, the sync path goes up. So that doesn't make sense, because you want your ups to match your downs, or your ups to match your ups and your downs to match your downs. So in this case, this line over here, let's quickly move up one little line. Come on. Can't move it. Okay, so this little period or peak over here, we actually want to match with that or over here. But if I take a look at my config or the gyro data, this is generally going up, and this is generally going up as well. So what I think I should do is I should try and move this whole line this way. And if we do it that way, then we are going to get a more streamlined data. So if I take a look at the pitch axis, you're going to see that the pitch axis is also kind of all over the place, but you have to think about where is your peaks and where's your averages going to go. So in this case, this is a peak, this is a peak, that's definitely a peak, and then it's going down a bit again. So I probably want this to move all the way over there, but you can see it's generally very consistent between each of the gyro sections. If I just quickly go to the second one, you can see the roll axis is kind of all over the place all the time. It is a 7-inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly turn on all of this. Let's just leave it on the yaw axis. It's much easier to see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start changing my offset in small percentages. Now, if your gaps were much bigger and you see that nothing really matched by any means, then you can make this bigger. But I would probably start off with a half a second. And just, you can either have it a positive or a negative. You can define or see where things are going to go. So in this case, I'm going to quickly auto sync. And we are now going to quickly see what happens with my data. Now, obviously this is going to take some processing power on your computer, but once you've done this 3 or 4 times in your video clip, trust me, the results are going to speak for themselves. You might have to add 3 or 4 sync points yourself, but I would always recommend with Gyroflow that you watch the clip yourself all the way through. Do not just trust it. It is a very, very powerful little tool, but it is open source and it is still very much in development. So with that said, we're almost through. Just take a look. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that just look so much better? Take a look at that red line. The low is where it's supposed to be. When it's supposed to go up, it's going up. And you can see the red line is very much an average of where the stutter is going to be. So if I zoom out, I turn on all the other ones again, right? And we watch the video. Wow, that's a lot smoother, don't you think? Just go back to the beginning. And you can see that it's almost it's almost perfect. Okay, so what you need to do now is you need to watch your video and you need to focus on where you see a stutter. If you see another stutter, and I like to do this, I like to watch full screen, and then you've got your finger ready on the space bar, for instance, and if you see something that doesn't look right, you press the space bar, you add a sync point, and you can just take it straight from there. You can see the green ones are the ones that they've already added themselves, which is great because they've already qualified themselves, and you can typically, once you add them, they change color. If they're very green, then it means they're very good sync. If they start getting orange or whatever, you might want to go add another sync point there. That's why a lot of guys prefer to add 10 sync points. But I'm a big fan of going in the beginning of the video and adding a sync point there, because generally it fixes a lot of the gyro data, especially if your gyro data is off by my percentage, like 0.05, because that means all your gyro data is essentially consistently wrong throughout the video clip. And in this case, you can see I've added a single sync point, and so far it's smooth. It's looking really, really good. Okay, so if you really want to, you can quickly scrub through your video and to places where you know, for instance, you might have some prop wash or something like that, and you can essentially just try and see if you can find a spot like that could potentially be an issue. Like for instance, over here, I've got 2 sync points over there. Let's just quickly check what's going on over here. And in this case, yeah, that sync point in the beginning of the video really made a difference. If I pause it over here and I deselect my stabilization, you'll see that it is actually quite jittery and jumpy all over the place over here. Okay, so let me just quickly jump back. Just move this slightly further back. You can see there's already manual sync points already added over there, and then double click and you can see that it is significantly better. I would probably say GoPro like. Now, the great thing you guys see here is the quality of the Caddx Walnut camera. This is 100% auto settings. I haven't changed anything on the camera settings except make it a Gyroflow obviously data without image stabilization, and I lock the ISO down to 100. I think everyone does that, unless you're going to be flying in low light conditions. But in this case, this is an ND16 ND filter on, smack in the middle of the day. I think it's 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and yep, the quality is actually really, really good. I think I'm going to use this as is and not even worry about adding a LUT or color grading this. So I'm very, very happy with the Caddx Walnut camera. And for the money, if you use Gyroflow and you use it correctly, you are really going to have a really good little action camera that you can use for 68 grams. I mean, that's very little weight compared to a GoPro. Okay. Well, guys, if you guys are enjoying this video, if you've got any comments or any questions, please leave it in the comments below. I'll always do my best to answer it. And as always, if you like what I'm doing, please click the subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. I'm also going to have some affiliate links down below. So if you find something that you'd like to purchase, please use the link. It really helps out the channel and it helps me grow and get some better content out for you guys. Thank you guys. See you guys in the next one.